Good evening, everybody. How are you? It's Jeff Gelman of Solid Canine Training with my weekly call-in radio show, except for nobody's calling in. So, hi everybody. How are you? It's Jeff of Solid Canine Training, and we do this once a week. It's a dog training Q&A. The reason why I do this is because I keep trying to get out as much free content as I possibly can. As I possibly can.
Wouldn't it be funny if someone did call?
I know.
Just in general.
Okay, let's don't even get that out there. So if you don't know what do, we've got a training center up in Providence, Rhode Island. We specialize in aggression rehab and behavior modification. We deal with a lot of biting dogs. We deal with a lot of high-level fear dogs. We deal with a lot of behavior modification. Obviously, we also do basic obedience, advanced obedience. We do puppy stuff. We actually had a puppy just come in. We actually have another puppy, coming in really soon. Again, we're documenting that. So there's a lot of great stuff that we're doing. Most people do this show, the What Would Jeff Do show. Most people come here because they want to stop an unwanted behavior. Stop an unwanted behavior. So we're going to talk a lot about. Thanks, Joseph. We're going to talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot about punishment. If you don't know what punishment is not mean. It's not abuse. You're not harming the dog. It's just you have to find something that's intolerable to the dog. No matter what you hear out there, it is impossible to stop an unwanted behavior through a reward-based system. We use rewards all the time. You won't hear me ever talk science at all. Why? Because nobody cares. You don't need to know it. You reward what you want, you punish what you don't want, but there's actually a proper way to punish a dog. And we'll go over all of that. I've got probably over 500 of these shows that I've done. Also, you can check us out on solidk9training.com, and that gets you to everywhere. If you need more one-on-one help, actually, you should jump onto my Patreon page. We have a Patreon page. It's underneath Solid Canine Training because you can actually now get a full question asked as well as start getting 30 minutes of Skype included in your monthly Patreon fee. All right, so Linda, let's go.
Oh my God, I just binged on You're Both Driving from Ontario to Mississippi and back 35 hours.
Nice. Nice.
Brand new training, e-collar. 3 big do's and don'ts before I get started.
Well, as far as 3 big do's and don'ts, number 1, fit is important. So you always want to do you always want to do fit. Feel free to share this page, to share this Periscope. So fit is really important. You want to make sure that it's on nice and snug up against the dog's neck. For remote collars, we recommend Dogtra, e-collar technology, and Garmin. Punishment only, you can probably use a sport dog, but those tend to run a little bit hot for us. Pair up your remote collar with food. We also do the pressure on, pressure off theory. You can do that. And then also make sure you leave a leash on the dog because remote collars don't teach directional control. Next.
Can you change behaviors in older dogs?
You can change a behavior as long as the dog is breathing. So as long as the dog is breathing, you can change the dog's behavior. If the dog's not breathing, you're going to get a good downstay of the dog. Next.
That's my favorite joke. What's the best way to get our female GSD to focus less on our male and more on us? Train separate?
You start out by training separately. You can teach the focus command. We don't. The best way to get your dog to focus on you is just to become valuable to your dog. Just to become valuable to your dog. So hold on 1 second. Kira, please. Pause. Just become valuable to your dog. But if your dog is paying too much attention to your male dog, you can correct it. Next.
Hey guys, so glad to see you. My dogs have benefited so much from you all, Standard Poodle and something else.
Awesome. Super proud of you for you doing all the hard work. Next.
Where have you been? I thought something was wrong with my notifications.
If you follow me on Facebook and on Instagram stories, you'll know everything I do.
That's how I find out. Yeah,
so Instagram stories, since it only lasts for 24 hours, you'll know everywhere I am. Like you literally can know where I am. If you want to be, whatever, you know where I am. Anyway, next.
Dog only snaps toward other dog when you are holding him.
Stop holding your dog, and the dog should be punished for that. So what you're doing is you're training an attack dog, just to let you know. Next.
Best way to meld 2 multiple dog households. Sister and her dogs just moved in, don't want fights.
So there is 1,000 variables that this Periscope will not go. these are what the variables are. It's the humans and the dogs. And then it's a combination of those in many different ways. So there's a lot of different ways. The first thing you want to do is work on existence. Don't want them to be friends. So be happy with them just existing with each other. Don't push them to be friends. It can go horrifically wrong. That's what we see all the time. So you might want to do a Skype on that one. Next.
Dog in place, still growls at door, even with high-level correction. Help. So
I would try using a bonker to punish the growling. A bonker is a wrapped-up towel, and you wrap it up. You would say no to the dog. You'd throw the towel at the dog. Also, for the growling, you want to say no and then do a punisher. Check your fit on your collar. A lot of times people will say, if you stop the growling, then the dog will just go to a bite. We're not seeing that. All we're seeing dogs do is stop growling. Next.
Love you, Solid Canine. How would you send the dog to train place?
You start out with place. So you start out with place, and you then work farther and farther and farther away. And you can do remote collar with that. So when we teach place, you literally bring the dog right to the place. And then over the course of a week, you start working distance away, and then the dog goes to place. Next.
What's the difference between pressure on and off with e-collar versus just applying pressure if they choose not to listen?
Because you can't do that from 100 feet away. Remote collars are great, and remote collars are neutral. And there's a lot of ways to put pressure on a dog, but a remote collar is a fantastic device that you can whisper or shout to the dog with, and you can use them up to 1 mile away. So there's nothing else like them. There's absolutely nothing else like them. Next.
Will bite work training make my GSD more aggressive?
If you don't know how to do bite work training, it might. But most dogs that do bite work. So whenever you see a dog, mostly on TV, so we're not talking about a police dog, but a dog on TV in sports, what happens is those dogs actually are not aggressive. Those dogs are trained to play tug on various parts of the body. That's why a lot of times all the decoy has on is an arm sleeve, and the dog is running 50 yards down the field and soaring through the air, and they're connecting to a sleeve, and the rest of the decoy's body is exposed a lot of the times. So those dogs are usually called equipment trained. So it's not aggression. It's not aggression. So it's more prey drive. Yes, you can do defense drive, a lot of different things, but if you do it right, no, it won't. Next.
How's girls' recovery coming along?
Slow. Next.
Dog keeps jumping up on me while eating dinner. Ways to correct this?
I'm not quite sure what the situation is. So if there's a couple of things, I've got a video on how to stop jumping. You can stop jumping easier than you can train sit. We do it all the time. I've got a free video. I showed it at every one of my seminars. Speaking of rvdogtrainer.com, rvdogtrainer.com. I've got a seminar coming up in South Carolina this coming weekend. But what I do is I feed all my dogs in kennels or crates. But if a dog has time to jump on you during mealtime, then the dog doesn't get a meal. That's not the punishment. Don't get me wrong. That's not the punishment. But if you got enough time to fuck around with your butt, like if you're not ready to eat right now, then the hell with it. I'll take your food away. Eat your freaking food. Stop with all the nonsense. So watch my video on that. But taking away the food for a jumping dog is not proper punishment. You actually have to punish the dog. Next.
All good things come from you. Okay, I'm a stalker. Hee hee.
That's fine.
Question: is crate training the best way to potty train a dog?
Crate training is a fantastic way to potty train a dog. Start with the crate stuff, and then you work it. You work it outside. So out of the crate on a slip lead to one particular door, outside to one particular potty spot. Pause before you exit the door, and then come back in and go back in the crate. Next.
Teaching place to the 2 pups, both 5 months old, was a lifesaver on that 2-week trip. Thanks.
Awesome. Congratulations. Next.
9-week-old puppy barks crazy in the crate. When I leave room, how to correct? She's quiet when I come in.
So, because that's typical. Just to let you know, that's normal animal behavior at 9 weeks old or 9 years old. So what you do is this. You make yourself a bonker. Bonker is a towel. Look it up. Oh, it is a wrapped up towel, so it just looks like a big tube of towel. And you would walk in, you would say no, and you'd throw the bonker at the crate. You can walk up to the crate, you can say no, and you can hit the top of the crate. Everybody out there says, don't do that. You'll make the dog afraid of the crate. That's the biggest line of bullshit that I've ever heard in my freaking life. That dog will be living in a shelter by the time it's 4 months old if it doesn't learn to shut up and shut up really, really soon. We know the dog is capable of not being loud in the crate because when you're in the room, it's not loud. So it's a choice. The dog is making a choice. You've got to teach that dog that that's a bad choice. Next.
Female Rottie plays too rough with male sibling.
Okay, so what you can do with that is we would use a dressage whip for that, and the dog dressage whip, and the dog will get a quick smack on the butt. You can also use a remote collar if the dog is remote collar savvy, and that would be on a lower level. Next.
On leash, dog gets stiff and stares at squirrels, etc. What posture, demeanor do I want to achieve?
Soft. Soft. So your dog is building up arousal. You don't want your dog to be aroused because if the dog was off leash, it would probably go after the squirrel. Remote collars are great for that. They're great for diffusing arousal. You're just tuning in. My name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. Go to solidcaninetraining.com and you can see all the portals of what we do. So we do Facebook, Instagram, obviously you're seeing me on Periscope, and we also do Patreon. Next.
Can you use a shock collar for both punishment and marking good behavior?
The remote collar is different than a clicker. So clickers are specifically for marking wanted behaviors. A remote collar is good for training obedience and then eliminating unwanted behaviors as well. So the only way you'd be able to use it to mark a wanted behavior is the turning off of the remote collar. Like you wouldn't use the remote collar like sit and then you wouldn't do the remote collar. That doesn't make sense. At least not the way we train. Next.
Also, 9-week puppy mouthing. I stick hand down throat but keeps doing it.
So then take the top lip like this and then pinch it in like that. And also,
what does that do?
It makes them bite down on their lip. But also be consistent. Also, first of all, it's only 9 weeks old, so you got a little bit of time. By 12 weeks old, it should be done. By 11 weeks old, it should be done. But keep in mind, what else are you doing with this dog? Are you getting this dog all drivey? Do you have an on-off switch with this dog? Are you crating this dog enough? Are you carrying this dog around so much? Are you playing unwanted tug-of-war with this dog? I'm not against tug-of-war, but unwanted tug-of-war with this dog? Are you all excited and high-pitched and everything? There's so many variables that go on. Next.
Sometimes dog waits for no to actually listen to command. Thoughts?
Use a remote collar, and you would punish the lack of doing a known command. Okay? So you would use the remote collar. You use the remote collar on that. Once a dog understands punishment, they tend to stop challenging you on your commands. Next. Place continued. Yep.
Oh, place continued, yips at high level, stim, dog growls back after being bonked.
So Christopher, you've got probably a lot of other variables going on there. You've got relationship issues that are going on. You've got relationships issues that are going on. Remember, dog training is like universal. There's a lot of different variables going on there. So, I don't know how you're doing it. I have no idea what you're doing. That's a really general question. I would need to, talk to you for, 100 different questions. Please don't write them on this because we don't have enough time. That would be a Skype thing. Keep in mind, I don't do these to do Skype. I don't do these to get business. I do these to help as many people as possible, but some questions just can't be answered in this format. Next.
Any tips on using the e-collar to reduce leash reactivity?
God, yeah. You punish leash reactivity. Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of information out there about don't punish leash reactivity. It'll make a negative association with like the thing that's being reactive. It already has a negative association with the thing that's being reactive. That's why it's reactive. I'm amazed by that comment. I'm so amazed by that. So what you do is, the only way you limit leash reactivity is through punishment. No, you reward the dog when it's not being reactive. I agree with that. Cool. Now what do you do when it's reactive? You ignore it, Yes, that's what people say. Wrong. So that's really, really important that you understand that. So what do? As soon as that dog gets aroused, no. Also teach the dog how to do a remote collar heel. That will eliminate leash reactivity 90% of the time. And then you got 10% of the time that you'll deliver a punisher when the dog is reactive. Next.
2-year-old keeps ripping up crate pads.
No more crate pads for the dog. Next.
No, I meant dog jumping on me while I'm eating.
Okay. That is about the root. Okay. This is not, I'm not shaming you because that's not my MO. That's about the rudest thing that I can freaking imagine. Let's all think about this. I want you to think about this. You know, what's what I want you to do? Who asked that question? Troll. I ask this question as a general question to everybody. What do you want to do, Troll? And I'm being serious. What do you want to do to the dog that keeps jumping up on you? What do you want to do? Because back in the day, it worked, right? Back before we got back before we got all politically correct on all this bullshit, we actually fixed our dogs. I hate to use the word fix. We actually stopped unwanted behavior pretty easily. We did. Your parents did. Your grandparents did. Well, nothing has changed. You still stop it the same way. But now we've got the luxury of remote collars, so we actually can use less force. So the availability of all these great tools actually allow us to use no force almost. And don't buy into this force-free bullshit, right? So what do? This is what you do. Remote collar on the dog. If my dog got anywhere near the kitchen table, it would know that when I'm eating my meal and coming towards me while I'm eating is a really bad choice. That's how you fix it. That is how you fix it. It is as simple as that. You don't tell the dog to do something. You punish the dog for making the wrong decision, or else the dog will just do really good at place. So this is what will happen. Dog comes up to you and you say place. Dog comes up to you and you say place. It will never, ever, ever end. Dog comes up to you, remote collar stim. That sort of sucked, didn't it? It works. It works great. And you're not going to destroy the relationship. You're not going to destroy the relationship with your dog. Your dog's not going to be afraid of you. Your dog might be afraid of going up to you. Dog might be afraid of you going up to at the kitchen table. Good. It should. That's the whole concept, guys. Like, there's certain things your dog should be afraid of. I got no problem with that at all. Yeah, use fear to freaking fix bad behaviors. We do that with our kids. We do that with ourselves. Don't tell me when you see a police car that you don't slow down. Why do you slow down? You're afraid of getting a traffic ticket, right? If you're responsible, I'm sober, but if you're a responsible drinker, why don't you drive when you're drunk? You call Uber. You have a designated driver. Why? You're probably afraid of dying. Fear is a very powerful motivator. Now, we don't train fear for sit down place or anything like that, but to stop an unwanted behavior, of course we do. Nature does. Next.
Why is the educator better than the other shock collars?
By the way, I'm not mad. I'm passionate about this shit.
Did you hear that?
I'm tired of freaking dogs being killed for easy things. So not just the educator, but Garmin, Dogtra, and eCollar Technology, they make a really good remote collar. The stim pattern is nice. The stim pattern is consistent. Yes, I put it on my neck. It's a nice, consistent stim pattern that you can adjust. The really cheap ones are just like they're inconsistent with their stim patterns. You can't fine tune the levels that you want. And then on the practical side, they're fully waterproof. The handset on the eCollar Technology ones float. They've got great distance to them. So next.
Wish I had known about bonkers when my kids were younger.
Jennifer, it's never too late. Never too late. Next.
I have a prong collar and e-collar. What works best for teaching on a walk?
Both. Clutch and gas. You can use both. Next.
When are you coming to Chicago?
I'm going to be go to rvdogtrainer.com. rvdogtrainer.com. YouTube, I love you. rvdogtrainer.com. I'm coming to Chicago and Elkhart, Illinois soon. I just don't know the dates off the top of my head. Next.
Boxer licks his paws when it seems, quite a bit. Why is he doing this, and what can I do to help?
It could be doing it for a couple of things. It could be an OCD behavior. The dog might have allergies. The dog walked through something. It might be, it might be a lot of things. So if it's behavioral, you can use a remote collar to stop any OCD type behavior of continuous licking, circling, tail spinning, all that other stuff. You can use a remote collar for. Next.
Hey, when walking, my dog whines when he sees other dogs and begins turning around to face the other dog.
Yep. So you can use a remote collar for that as well. I just love remote collars for so much stuff because it is such a subtle or not so subtle form of punishment. So it's just really, really cool that you can do that while you don't even have to break a stride. Why you don't have to break a stride? Next.
Having a hard time getting e-collar on, won't sit still when trying to get it on. Any suggestions?
Yeah, you would take a bonker, which is a wrapped up towel. You would say no, and you would bonk the dog. Then the dog goes, oh, sorry. Next.
What's your stance on tug play?
I love tug. I'm a huge advocate of tug. Tug is a great, great, great relationship building skill. But I have rules for tug. I have rules for tug. It's with a tug toy, and I put it away, and then I take it out, which doesn't mean you can tug it. You get a bite command, and you have an out command, and I decide the rules as far as that's concerned. Who wins? I don't care about who wins. It's about me starting it and stopping it. Next.
My 5-month puppy cries continuously in his crate. He whines and barks during the day.
Okay. First of all, just check to make sure you have a healthy dog. Chances are you do. You've got a whining and barking dog during the day, which probably means when you're not there. I would use a bark collar for that. There's, a lot of people are like, bark collars are mean. I would love to know how you stop a dog from barking when you're not home. It can't be done. It's not possible. You're not home. Like nobody's home. The dog will just keep barking. You have to have a bark collar. You don't give it 20 toys. You don't exercise it for 3 hours. Your dog's still going to bark. So a remote collar. Next.
E-collar irritated dog skin, white coat. Any advice?
Yeah, get a comfort pad. Next.
Watch the bicycle video. Now I can exercise my dog in half the time.
Awesome. Just do a better job on that bike than I did. Next.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Even after high correction, dog still wants to chase the cats. What next?
It's not high enough. You don't have a powerful enough remote. You're not doing it high enough. You're not holding the remote down long. Check for fit, and your timing might be off. You might be doing it at when the dog is escalating. You want to punish the dog as soon as it starts thinking about it. So think about this. You struggle with drugs and you struggle with alcohol. So you're an addict, correct? So I'm not going to wait till you walk into the bar to tell you that drinking is wrong, correct? As soon as you think about going into the bar, I'm going to have a conversation with you. Does that make sense? Next.
2-year-old and 19-week-old don't seem food motivated during focus exercise. Any alternatives?
Well, 19-week-old don't use food other than training. Only use their daily food as their training reward, and only feed them while you're training. Next. And then train them separately at first, especially the 19-week-old. It'll be too distracted. Next.
You guys doing a T3 after June's? I may have a conflict, so wondering about other options.
Yeah, Rhode Island will be in October usually. Historically, you do it in June and October. Yep. Next.
Walk by barking dogs every day on walk. My dog goes over threshold, ignoring high corrections.
You're gonna first of all teach your dog how to do a remote. What I don't want you to do is this. You walk by the distraction, and you're using the remote as you being reactive to the dog's reaction. I want you to be more proactive. Be more proactive. So start utilizing space first. So go on the other side of the street. Use distance to your advantage. Train the dog on a remote collar for remote collar healing, which will get the dog to be focused on you. Right now, your dog has to do avoidance training, meaning it has to avoid its eyes from the other dogs right now. And all you do is, that's easy enough to do. You just get the dog to either look straight ahead or up at you. The remote collar can help you with all that. Make sure your dog has a nice tight heel next to you. No pulling on the leash. Then when your dog starts getting agitated, so it starts, ears go up, it alerts in any way, that's when you drop the hammer. You drop the hammer. Next.
Dog responds to vibration and tone on low level, but barely notices the shock level. Pit bull.
So it does notice it, but you got to tell the dog what to do. So this is the thing. This is very, very common. It's not just a breed. A remote collar does not tell a dog what to do for obedience. A remote collar is not directional. That's why we have leashes on dogs when we're training them. If you can see the dog's muscle moving in the neck, the dog is feeling it. But that doesn't tell the dog, though, what to do with it. So, if your dog doesn't know roll over, it doesn't make a difference how high you go on that remote collar. The dog's not going to roll over. So that's what I tell people. Why do you think your dog would lie down? It's not it doesn't tell your dog to lie down. You still got to train the dog. So your dog most likely feels it. You, the human, have to understand now what to do with it. But don't do vibrate. We don't train on vibrate. Next.
My dog jumps, and I did the prong collar pull. She stops for a week and continues to do so.
Okay, so James, it's consistency. You got to do it consistent. You might not have done it firm enough, and you would probably switch to a remote collar to get a better effect. Next.
Dog scared of motorcycle, running away, won't come close to it. Help.
Well, what I would do is I'd have the dog on a leash, and I would have my dog start off at, say, 25 or 50 feet away, and the motorcycle is off, and you're just going back and forth, 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 and you're getting closer and closer and closer, and keep the dog in a proper heel. And then you would start the motorcycle. I mean, you have to remember how loud motorcycles are. Like your average motorcycle, even if it hasn't had an exhaust, aftermarket thing done to it, they're still pretty freaking loud. So they do freak out a lot of dogs. But also so do, ATVs and snowblowers and lawnmowers and all that stuff. And then what you'll do is you keep the dog in a heel. Again, start out with distance. Next, work your way in.
How to teach dog to drop toy or ball.
That's the out command. So the out command is really, really simple to do. It's with a remote collar. I'm an idiot. IDIYOT. Undertaker. Like if you're gonna be a proper troll, I mean, if you really want to be one of the top trolls in the country, like a really high end, effective troll, spelling is really, really important. Just food for thought. Next.
All right. Is a bark collar effective to improve leash etiquette?
No. A remote collar would be. Bark collar, stop barking. Next.
Harness or prong collar for dog that pulls?
Harnesses were designed for dogs to pull more effectively. So think about dog sleds, think about weight pulling, think about tracking, think about a lot of times protections in some protection sports, even though they don't usually use a harness. But what it does is it kicks in the drive of the dog, and it agitates the dog, and it makes the dog want to pull more, because that's a very strong part of the dog's body. So a prong collar is a tool that will help you communicate the training that will stop the pulling. Next. But harnesses really aren't training tools. Next.
Would rolled up newspaper work as a bonker?
Not as effective, but 35 years ago it worked just fine, right? And today I'm sure with plenty of people it works just fine. Next. It's hard to throw you're not going to get the desired effect, put it that way. I mean, you would use it more to like bop the dog on the nose. Next.
Good evening, guys. It looks like things are looking better for you all. Feeling good.
Oh,
yes, Kim, thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
My dog won't stay in place even when he leaves, and we say no and bring him back over to the place.
So keep in mind that your dog is still in kindergarten or first grade. So your dog is in kindergarten or first grade. So what you want to do is, hold on one second. Your dog's in kindergarten or first grade. So what you have to do is, your no is not a big enough punisher. So your no is not a big enough punisher at all. So leash on the dog, and we don't use spray bottles, actually. I'm actually against spray bottles. If you want to use them, but the way that you have to use the bottle to spray, I just don't like that. I don't like that. I want all my punishers to be delivered in a different way, but it works for a lot of people. So your no has to have meaning to it. That's where the remote collar comes in, but have the dog on a leash. Next.
How high can you go on the e-collar?
As high as you want. I mean, 100, 127, whatever number it is. The level of the e-collar warrants the behavior of the dog warrants the level of the remote collar. Next.
Is this Penn and Teller?
No, it's not. It's Teller and Penn. We've rebranded. Next.
My German Shepherd puppy got out, but she had e-collar on. She came back when I called name and used it. Thanks.
Awesome. Proud of you. Next.
My dog never wants to play fetch. Is there a way to encourage her to play?
Well, I mean, it's not a natural thing for a dog to play fetch. You have to teach it. So you absolutely can start getting your dog more interested in fetch-like games. Look at something called a flirt pole, F-L-I-R-T. A flirt pole, it's not something you find at the local singles bar. You can actually make one yourself. Just think about like a fishing line with a piece of leather or rag at the end of it. And you can start getting your dog to be kicking into its drive. Try that. But you actually can also teach the dog forced fetch, which we don't teach at all. That's big in the hunt world. In the hunt world, in the field trial world, forced fetch. And there's numerous ways to do that. Next. That's where they train retrievers. Next.
My dog was given to me from a friend. He's traumatized from being thrown as a puppy now, and he won't let us hold him.
So number one, don't worry about it. You don't need to hold your dog, but you can counter condition that. You can counter condition that. So let's pretend that your dog was not thrown as a puppy. So as of today, on the what is today, the 27th? The 27th of February 2018, your story is your dog was never ever thrown. Got it? That's your story. Get that off of your vocabulary, get it out of your head. Now what you're going to start doing is counter conditioning that, and you do that through touch, clicker, and food. Next.
My trainer recommended a 2-week board and train for dog and people aggression. Is this what you do also? Not in 2
weeks, Russell. Not in 2 weeks. That would be a very that would be pretty amazing for a truly aggressive dog to be rehabbed in 2 weeks would be pretty outstanding. But we do a ton of boarding training. Yes, we also do one-on-one stuff. And then I do seminars as well. But our 90% of our business is board and train because we deal with some pretty serious behavioral cases. I wouldn't do anything for less than 5 weeks. And then also it's depending on the skill of the trainer as well. Next.
How do I get him to relax?
Relax. You do something. You start teaching. Calm on command, which we do that through duration work. You do it through a duration work. Also, you need to understand how to eliminate arousal in dogs. So you want to eliminate arousal in dogs as well. We talk about that all the time. Next.
Are monks still training dogs these days?
Brother Christopher is still training dogs, yes.
Big eye-opener for us with reactivity was our GSD was aroused before we even started the walk.
Cheryl, there you go. So for Cheryl, what I probably told her to do is you would actually give the dog a high-level correction even before the walk starts. Everybody freaks out about that. The dog really hasn't done anything wrong yet. You're being mean, blah, 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 blah. No, the dog's being mean to you by acting like a total jerk on the walk, dragging you down, breaking your nose, breaking your wrist, dislocating your hip, dragging you across the street, getting into a dog fight, redirecting on you. You're not being mean to your dog. Your dog's being incredibly mean and dangerous to you. So, next.
Just want to say thank you for all the videos. Learned so much.
You're welcome, Russell.
Thank you for all you do to help us. The outcomes have been measurable.
Thank you, Wendy.
What are e-collars for? What do they do?
E-collars do a lot of different things. They train wanted behaviors. So a lot of people call them shock collars. We can call them a shock collar as well, and I do often. They also eliminate a lot of unwanted behaviors, and they work up to a mile away. With the way we do it is we layer leash obedience on with a remote collar, but they're fantastic for on-leash and off-leash obedience, as well as the state of mind of the dog. Next.
Can't always play with my dogs. What can I do to keep them busy?
Sorry, YouTube, you don't get to, unfortunately you can't see that. See this right there? Teach them duration. Teach them duration. You can do, don't feel like you have to always keep your dogs busy. Like my dogs spend 21 hours a day doing nothing. You know what I mean? Doing nothing. So, don't feel like you've got to like always be entertaining them, but you can do trick training, nose work, fetch, frisbee, obedience work. There's so many things you can do. Next.
I own 2 West Highland Terriers. They're 12 years old, and all of a sudden they are vomiting a lot. What can I do?
You probably would go. I would talk to your vet about that. Read it. Talk to your vet about that. That would be a vet question. I don't do vet, and I really don't do nutrition. Next.
Is the lady pinching a turd?
Was that up there? No,
Yeah.
No, she's pinching my balls. Next.
I have an 80-pound dog that is crazy aggressive. He won't listen or obey.
So Apostle, that's a statement, which is there's literally 1,000 things you can do. What I would suggest you do is this. If you go to my YouTube channel, the way you can get to my YouTube channel, it's Solid Canine Training, but go to my website, Solid Canine Training, click on YouTube, start going down the rabbit hole of my videos, start with basic obedience commands, crate your dog when you're not home, crate your dog at night, massive amount of structure, massive around it. We're not going to give you the pleasure of asking another one. Massive amounts of structure. Start with that. Or do a Skype session with me, because if you've got an aggressive dog that doesn't listen, we have our work cut out for us. But that's all the dogs that you see at our training center that are obedient and that are lying down next to each other and that are calm, all came to us pretty much. The power of a balanced training program is incredible. Next.
How far ahead do you book for board and train? Stella's anxious, been doing all your stuff, but just in case.
Right now, we have about a 7-week waiting list right now. So, but you don't wait 7 weeks to sign up. You'd have to sign up now to get a spot in 7 weeks. And we've got a form on our website that you can do that. But also, if you're close to Providence, I've got a seminar coming up in March. Go to that seminar. rvdogtrainer.com. Go to March. It's a lot less. It's a lot less money. It's 10% of the fee of a board and train. Try that first. See how that works. Next.
New foster has to be dragged from crate, defecates on way out, pancakes when trying to walk, tail tucked.
Yep.
Advice?
You've got yourself a really nervous, fearful dog. You're going to want to do a lot of confidence building. I would take away all affection right now, because it won't help. It will not help. If we can get nervous, fearful dogs to turn around with affection, that's what we would do. And you also get somebody out there saying, "Oh no, build a relationship." It's really hard to build a relationship with a dog that shit's coming out of the crate. So next.
What's that phrase you said the other day? Put out the fuse, not explosion.
You're right. So you want to limit. You punish the fuse. You extinguish the fuse. Don't wait for the explosion.
Okay.
Go.
I don't understand it. You tell me later.
Why would everything I talk about is like, don't wait till the dog is already being reactive. As soon as you see that they're aroused, you squash it.
Okay. The
fuse. The fuse, you light a bomb. You've seen cartoons, Wile E. Coyote cartoons, right? You light the fuse and and if you don't put that out, the bomb explodes. Next.
Okay. I would like to play with your dog. Okay.
You can't. Next.
When would
Take care, Kim.
Oh, you asked the question right here. When would you use the ball?
Yeah, if you got a question, you type it in. Next.
When would you use the Boss e-collar over the Mini?
Russell, so if you have a dog, if you've got a remote collar and it's fit on the dog properly, and you're always finding yourself at like 50, 60, 70, the Boss would probably work, or you're trying to get more range. So you get an extra half-mile range. Next.
Out of curiosity only, Linda, are you ever involved with dog training? No.
Next.
I do the kid training.
So this is the most that Linda's involved with dog training. Is this as well? She's a kick-ass small businesswoman, wife, and mother that supports what I do, and that's like huge. Like that's huge. That's bigger than her training dogs, in my opinion. Next.
Why, thank you.
Why, you're welcome.
Do you chew tobacco while eating donuts?
I tried to do that, and no, I separate it. I
felt
separate it.
pukey when I tried.
I did
that.
too. I know.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Ball pinching. That's great. Dog outs from food on command and doesn't rush bowl, but so stressed while eating. Will this pass?
You know, Kathy, I don't know if it'll pass or not. Like, we hope it will. What you can start doing some food training. You can also take food and like spread it out on a cookie pan or on a muffin tin, like putting food in different little things right there. They also make a slow feeder, or you're just interpreting that the dog is stressed. So put the food in the bowl, feed the dog, leave the room. I bet your dog will be fine. Next.
Crate at night too? Okay, he sleeps in my bed. I bought him a bed, but he won't sleep in it.
So Apostle, I'm not against dogs sleeping in beds, but like I have no absolutes, guys, to anything. Hold on. Nobody's got to do, nobody has to do shit that I recommend. I don't really care. But we know that if you have a dog that has separation anxiety, reactivity, aggression, pushy, snotty, fear, resource guarding, and if you're sleeping with it, you're making it worse. Next.
Going to your seminar in Collingwood.
Oh, good.
I'd drive her to Rhode Island. Got to figure out how to cross the border. LOL.
It's not that hard. You don't need a visa. You just need a passport, and just have the health certificate for your dog. That's it. Next.
Can I borrow your board and train contract?
If you want to, but it might not be legal in your state. I would rather you be inspired by it. Next.
Missed you guys. Grateful for the Q&A tonight. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Martha.
Oh, thank you.
Martha.
Oh,
wow. We're trying to stay warm, Kim. Is it possible to have fully trained dog by looking at your videos, or should I take to local training?
I would start by looking at my videos. People are off-leash training their dogs by okay, this is the thing. If you have a work ethic and the drive to work your freaking tail off and really commit to stopping all the unwanted behaviors that your dog has, that I give away for free, and to train what you want, which I also give away for free, you can do it on your own. Absolutely. Next.
My dog cries when I use the e-collar. Too high?
Could be. Next.
My dog is a small breed. She will not walk on a leash. She is terrified.
So what I would do is this. I would start, put it this way. Does your dog walk off leash? Like if you put your dog in the backyard, will your dog run around the backyard and play? If you put the leash on the dog and then the dog doesn't run around, your dog's not afraid. Your dog's being a little snot. And I don't say that disrespectful. So your dog's not afraid to move around the backyard because your dog does it. Put a leash on the dog doesn't want to do it, and that's your dog's FU to you, is the behavior that you're seeing. Okay? We see that all the time. We know the dog can move, right? We know the dog can move.
So how does she fix it?
It's objecting. What? Prong collar on the dog, and more, a lot of structure, a lot of leadership. I've got videos on the show on all that, but a prong collar is going to help you dramatically. Next.
She needs a tiny one.
Yep.
Love these, by the way. Thank you. Other trainers don't post nearly as much.
No, they don't. We have more, and this is not an ego brag, but we post a ton of shit. Next.
Ton of shit.
Yep.
I have an issue getting my 1-year-old pit bull to come when I call.
You have to train the recall command. So we've got videos on recall. Other people have videos on recall. So leash on the dog. You can do remote collar training with that. We always pair that up with food. On all our recall training, we pair it up with food. Next.
I have an issue with my dog jumping and nipping.
Okay. Jumping is easy to fix. It's a 3-second fix. It's easier to stop than training a sit. And I've got a video on my YouTube channel on that. Next.
Oh, yes, Linda, I'm signed up to your channel. Thank you, Jennifer Newberry. I appreciate it. I've been a naughty girl. I haven't been on lately.
No, she hasn't. Next.
I need a spanking.
Yes.
I love when Angelo does distractions.
Angelo's going to be at the training center tomorrow. So jump on a social media tomorrow. He'll be there. Next.
Linda has a channel. Can you plug that real quick?
Sure.
I have no idea. I think I'm under Linda Gelman. If not, it's Agnes and Dora by Linda G.
Yep.
Yeah. Next. Oh, I'm outside. What?
I don't know.
Why'd you point that?
I don't know. If you're not outside, because I have a dog that would have eaten you by now, and I've got a gun that would have fired out the window. So you're not outside.
Not at our house.
Not at our house. Unless you're talking about like a behavior outside. But every once in a while, I say that because every once in a while somebody likes to be cute because I leave my GPS on because I want people to know where I am in Providence. Every once in a while, you'll get someone that like, oh well, no. It's like, no.
You wouldn't dare.
You wouldn't come on my property. Trust me on that. We got dogs out there for a reason, and I believe in. I'm not going to go down that other road right now in this time in our nation. But go ahead.
Is there a minimum age for prong and e-collar? Also, if dog is rescue and no relationship, prong okay.
Well, let's do so. Minimum age for about 12 to 14 weeks old for a minimum age, but you still got to train the dog. But let's talk about the rescue stuff. A rescue dog is no different than a dog from a breeder. It's not. It's the behavior doesn't. The training doesn't change. The training doesn't change at all. So. We train them all. A rescue dog, you wouldn't know what was a rescue dog over a bred dog once they're trained. Next.
It takes working every day and watching you daily.
Yes. No, you don't need a relationship to start using a prong collar. Guys, so here's the basis of the Stella, and this is not towards you, but this is always the basis of the question. This is the basis of all these questions. People think remote collars and shock collars are bad, therefore they have to like. So would you ever say this, Stella? And Stella, I'm not picking on you, and I love you. You know that. You've been on before. Would you ever say, can I do food training with a dog that I don't have a relationship with? Right? Because guess what? A lot of dogs, you can't, because that's the dog. I can't tell you, when you have a dog, we've had dogs that have gone a week, and they won't take food. Now you're screwed. Why? Because they're fearful, nervous dogs. So it's interesting. Next. When you get into the world of rehab, it becomes really, really interesting. Next.
I got nothing else right now.
Really? How long have we been on for?
48
minutes. So somebody asked about my YouTube channel. Everything is solid canine training. Solid canine training. You can get everything there. Everything there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Other trainers have said not to try prong until relationship.
So those trainers don't know how to train a dog. So how long does it take for a relationship? What, 5 dates? Seriously, how long does it take? The relationship is built through the training. The relationship is built through the training. I can't tell you how many people have owned dogs for 2 to 3 years to come to us, and their relationship sucks. They have no relationship with their dog. Meanwhile, they come to us, and within 3 days, you'd think that the dog had a great relationship with us. So the relationship is built through the training. A dog comes into our training center, and literally the first 5 minutes, the training starts. The relationship starts. It starts. So now, a lot of dog trainers will say that. That's just because they don't know how to do it. And that's not a diss on them. It's more about just like lack of information.
You guys are magic, LOL, but okay, I get your point.
Well, Stella, Jordan, Brittany, and John, my 3 head trainers, are incredible. And then I've got Lily, Dan, and Shayla, who are my kennel staff, and they are incredible. I've got 2 brand new part-time people. They just started. I think they'll do well. Jessica, who works my front desk and does some of my social media, she's incredible. So my staff is incredible. It is almost magical. Next.
That's it, babe.
You can go to RV.
Shayla is awesome.
RV,
yes.
Shayla is rvdogtrainer.com, rvdogtrainer.com for my seminar series. You can go to our Patreon channel, Patreon, patreon.com/Solid Canine Training. Support us there. We're going to be putting out some brand new exclusive content on our Patreon channel. Plus, you can get a 30-minute Skype with that. You're going to get content that's only put on the Patreon channel that nobody else can see. Right now, we've got a bunch of puppy stuff that's up there.
I want some merch. That's what I want.
T-shirts are being designed right now. Next.
Kids and dogs don't feel loved without rules, boundaries, and
Limitations. Yeah, I mean, rules and boundaries are huge. You know, I mean, that's the magic for a lot of the stuff we do. Society. That's how society functions. Or else we'd have anarchy. Next.
E-collar for pressure on, off versus just when they don't do what you want, ask, but what's off for 1 sec.
Yes, I'll have hoodies. I'll have a bigger selection than Sean O'Shea at the Good Dog.
Oh, definitely. Love his selection out of the water.
We're gonna have a bigger selection than Sean. Our shipping will be way better than his shipping. Our prices will be at least $1 less than his. And there's going to be a surprise in every box. So there was an e-collar question. Right there.
I already asked it.
Okay.
E-collar for pressure on, off versus just when they don't want to do what you want. Asked what was off.
So when we're training obedience command, it's on, pressure off. And then for punishment, it's just a quick higher level nick.
I want a coffee mug too.
We're doing coffee mugs. We're doing T-shirts. We're doing hoodies. We're doing a lot of stuff. I'm still looking for that artist. Hats. We can do hats. Next. Nope. I'm not doing
bumper stickers.
Nah. Hey, Steph, how are you? Miss you, honey.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
How's life in court these days? How's life in court? Advocating for the children of the country, at least, state of New York. Good.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Good. What else can we talk about? I think that might be it. I've got my What Would Jeff Do tips that are out every day. Right after this, I'm going to be doing another tip. I put those tips up every single day in 2018. I'm doing a What Would Jeff Do tip, 365 of them. And keeping kids safe. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, Jake. Yes, I'm doing a lot better. I was a wreck.
She was in bed.
It's funny because I'm at ballet a lot with Romy, and even there, when I came back, they were like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Jeff told us you were so sick."
I went out of town. I had to go to LA for work. The first 3 days that I was out of town, our 12-year-old, our kids were not left unattended. Our 12-year-old actually took care of Linda, the other kids, 4 dogs, 2 cats, and 7 chickens.
She did amazing.
Yeah, she's 12.
Yeah, almost 13.
Almost 13. Guess how she got that way? Rules, structure, boundaries. Yep.
Mutual respect.
Yep.
And some love too.
Yep. But pretty cool stuff. Cool stuff. Yep. Obviously, Romy, who's 11, she helps take care of Angelo a ton. So.
Yep.
Next.
I call her little mommy. What are the dogs with them? What's that?
I don't know what the chooks are.
I don't know either.
Marta, that's a New Zealand term.
Yeah, what's a chuck?
Marta, I don't know. I love New Zealand. I love it. I don't know what a chook is though. Oh, the chickens.
Oh, chickens.
Oh, how are the dogs with the chickens? This current batch, they're different. Our chicken coop is our chicken coop is in a different part of the property that the dogs don't go to. I don't talk about Stella. You'll never, ever hear me talk about another dog trainer. Never.
Ever.
Nope. You don't hear me about. That's one thing you'll notice. I don't talk about other dog trainers. So whenever anybody asks me that question, that's not bad or good. That's not. I just don't do it. I just don't do it.
Are you coming to San Diego soon?
San Diego, I will be in November. Ramona, actually. I'm going to be in Ramona, California. Oh, I didn't even tell you this, Linda, because I got to run it by you. I might be announcing a Las Vegas seminar date.
Shut the front door.
Yep. I got a location last week.
Vegas, baby.
Right off the strip.
Aww.
Yep. So I might be announcing it.
Stomping grounds.
I know. Yeah, Linda and I used to spend a lot of time.
We got married in Vegas.
We got married in Vegas. We've probably done trade shows, 50 trade shows at least.
A lot.
We've done a lot of trade shows there. Yep.
I love Vegas.
Yeah.
Just got 2 chooks and my youngest collie wants to herd them badly. She's starting to learn to work.
Yeah. Just don't stress out. Just don't stress out the don't stress out the chickens. If you're using them for eggs, you don't want to stress them out. You know that, right? You know that. So
they're really prone to like nervous diarrhea.
They can die.
Yeah, they'll have heart attacks.
Yeah. So.
Oh, always welcome in NZ. No?
Marta, if I could, Marta, I mean, I do seminars to make a living. I mean, that's actually how I make a living. Like that's I gotta get paid for this stuff.
You gotta watch out with your hands.
Oh, sorry. I gotta get paid for this stuff. But if I did a seminar, in New Zealand and I broke even, I'd be happy. Mm-hmm. Just to spend 10 days there, I'd be happy. Yep.
You have more class and integrity is why I love you.
Oh, Lynette, thanks. I just think it's also being professional. And this industry is full of nonsense. This dog training thing, man, life's too short to be an asshole. So like this dog training industry is interesting, isn't it? A lot of interesting. There's a lot of people that this is what it is about the dog training industry. You get a lot of people that are they're drawn to dogs because they can't stand people. So what do? They don't know how to navigate through the world of human beings. So that's why you see a lot of this other nonsense. There's also a lot of really angry people, and it all comes out usually in social media. So,
I don't know what to make of this. Marriage in Vegas sounds so cliche.
Jake, it is cliche.
We're like a walking cliche. Look at us.
Linda had a grass skirt on. I had a grass skirt on, didn't I?
Yeah.
I had a grass skirt on. I had a t-shirt on. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we got married in the Tropicana Hotel in a penthouse, one of the penthouse suites. And there was about 90 people there, and nobody knew we were getting married. They weren't there for the wedding. They were there because we were hosting a party, because we did every time we went to Vegas. We hosted a party for all of the people that bought product from us. I used to be in the adult product industry, sex toys. So it was really interesting. The Bremen, the first hour was, you got to go back an hour. I answered about 250 questions. You know what I mean? I answered about 250 questions. And there's about 500 more of these, but like
Jake says, wasn't supposed to be a negative. Just hear it a lot from lovebirds. We get married in Vegas.
Nice.
It was fast and simple.
If I was younger, I would become a trainer. Lynette, you are
a spring chicken.
Lynette, you have 30 years left. Lynette, 30. You have there's so much value that you can give to the marketplace right now. Yeah, the breed man. Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying though, but there's like we've got so much content out there. The cool thing about Periscope is as soon as I sign off, you can watch the replay, and then I got literally 500. I've got about 10,000 hours of audio content out there. 5,000 videos. Not an ego brag. It's just like we have tons and tons of content.
A shitload.
So much content out there. But yeah, but my life's more than dog training. That's for sure. Next.
I'm a dog handler and shadowing to become a trainer now.
Oh, good for you. Good. Shadowing is a great way. Shadowing is a great way to build in anything. In anything.
I now have 2 shepherds. Is it true once you go shep, you never go back?
I mean, that's my breed of choice. But I would get. I mean, you know, I've met some working line labs that I really liked a lot. I've met a lot of Rottweilers that I've liked a lot.
I saw the cutest puppy on Hope Street.
All puppies are cute.
It was a German Shepherd Husky, and it had 1 blue eye and 1 brown eye.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
Yeah, you absolutely, Lynette, you can absolutely train dogs for seniors. Absolutely. The #1 growing population in the country right now, probably the world, is 65 and older. A lot of people now that are either living on their own and independent or they're in assisted living, they're allowed to have dogs. Usually they're 20-pound and under dogs. So there's so much there's so much demand out there for good dog training.
How was LA?
LA was great. I had a great time. I ate extremely healthy. Did some masterminding with Sean. We had a great seminar. It was fantastic.
Are pit bulls the most aggressive breed? Love to hear your take.
You know, I work with a lot of pitties. I'm absolutely not one of those people that are like, oh, they're nanny dogs. It's like, you know, this is the thing. Statistically, you know, there's more aggressive breeds than a pitty, but when they are aggressive, it's pretty intense. And I think that people that are big pit bull advocates need to recognize that. You know, to say these wide paintbrush strokes that like they're the best dogs. Pit bulls are fantastic dogs. They are fantastic dogs. I love the breed. I really, really do. But I've also worked with a lot of aggressive dogs. That's how I make, you know, a good part of my living. And when it's a pitty, I mean, you have to take certain precautions. There's a big difference between a dachshund or a 20 or 30-pound dog from biting you and then another dog from biting you. But also, I mean, your Rottweilers, your Malinois, your Shepherd, I mean, any power breed, your Dogos, you know, I mean, any power breed dog can lay some hurt down on you very, very quickly. And, you know, I'm not one of these people that are like, you know, rainbows or anything. So, you know, I don't think they're the most aggressive because what would most be? Like, are we talking statistically? Because the answer would be no. So, you know, bites. But damage-wise, they can put some serious damage on you. But meanwhile, I meet some of the most fantastic dogs that are pitties around. So that's special. So read that.
My daughter has a pit, and he's very protective of my grandbaby. He will not allow you to get close to her.
So that's actually a problem, just to let you know. That's actually a major problem. That's not a good trait in a dog. And I'm just, you know, I want you to know that. That's not. That's how people get, people get bit. You know, if I broke into your house, that's one thing. But if I come over to your house, and if I want to pick up your granddaughter, and I have your permission, your dog has no opinion in the conversation. The dog should lie down and mind its own business. So, you know, I think it's like German Shepherds. I mean, I've got Shepherds, and, you know, you can be around my kids. If my dog's ever even thought about biting you, growling at you, or going after you because you were hanging out, or, you know, around my kids, like that would be a problem. That would be a major problem. So for the dog, no. So that's not allowed. That's not acceptable behavior for any breed of dog. Next.
If you remember the Out of Control Pitty from Ellington, we're doing a group class at Tracy's, and he's doing awesome. Thank you. Seminar changed our life. Jasmine,
I remember you tremendously. That was some of the best video footage that I've gotten from a seminar. It was fantastic. Hey, Jasmine, let me get Jasmine, if you want to write a little testimonial and get it to me, because you're a perfect example You're a perfect example of somebody who we see at all these seminars, but people that think that that kind of dog can't go to the seminar or that dog can't be helped by the seminar. And I want people to know it's like, you're not alone. Jasmine's got a really intense, out of control dog that went to the seminar. She's the one that I put up a video of this dog just lunging at everything. And within seconds, that dog was under control. Literally seconds. Next. Those are old questions. It's time for us to go.
Yeah.
It is,
actually.
Oh my gosh, it's an hour and 5 minutes. All right, everybody. Madly in love with you. My name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. This is Linda. You can go to solidcaninetraining.com. We've got links then to all of our social media platforms. We just started a new Patreon page, so we're going to be able to put out some good content that's different. Also Instagram stories. Instagram stories, a lot of fun. You'll see Angelo swimming. Anybody want? Oh, Angelo put his head under the water today. So if you want to see Angelo swimming, Instagram stories is where you want to be tonight. And don't forget, they disappear in 24 hours. All right, everybody. Madly in love with you. You're all extremely special to me. I feel very fortunate that I can talk. So take care.
Thank you.
Love you all. Thanks, Steph, for joining. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, YouTube. Love you, YouTube.